Lee Hall with Clarity Media. Today is the inauguration of a podcast for a gentleman that I met probably 9-10 months ago. And I think it was one of those situations. I think I met him on Instagram. He was ranting about something. It was deep. At the time, it was too deep for me to like dedicate myself to it, but I ended up following him. So I was like, okay, no big deal. As time went on, I would drop in on him and he'd be dropping some knowledge. I was like, man, this dude's deep, man. And I was working on a project that's still going, and it's the Black Outtake. It was a podcast that's dedicated to creating a space for Black males to have open dialogue about life in general. And so I invited him on, and it was awesome, but I felt like that he needed his own lane, right? He was so powerful that he didn't shine his brightest because he needed his own avenue. And so I reached out to him, and this is the launch of the Sensical podcast. And I don't even know if he likes the name. I came up with it. So but I felt yeah. And so before I introduce you, Sensical, tell me, matter of fact, now introduce yourself, because maybe in your introduction you'll answer my question.
Yeah. So thank you for having me, Lee. I go by the name Sensical Sense. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm a Gaviai. And I believe that Africans all over the world should unite. That has been my message ever since I was 18 years old. And now I'm 23 years old and I'm still going. I'm a rap artist. I've been doing music since I was 16, and I'm.
You're a rap artist?
Yeah, I am.
All right, we're gonna touch on that on the next episode. We got to listen to some of that music.
Yeah, no problem. It's been a while since I've made music, but I'm working on new music right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm a lot of things, but number one is that I am a Pan-Africanist. That is my primary title, because I believe that we as African people are in a dangerous position. Like we as African people are in a dangerous position, and the only way we can get through this dangerous position is if we unite. And so that's my main message.
Wow. I didn't know you was going to hit him in the face right with the comment, but I like that. And before we dive deeper, because I don't want to scare people, when you say Black people are in a dangerous position, help me with that. That's super broad, and it leaves a lot of things to the imagination. If you can, and I know this is going to be the difficult task, if you could please sum that up, what you really mean by that, in as few words as possible. I don't like confusing people. Just try to sum that up. What does that mean?
Well, I don't know if I can do it in few words, Lee, but I'll try. Okay, let's start here in Africa. We are it's like every day we are moving backwards. This continent has been in confusion, has been in turmoil ever since colonization started, and people think that when colonization ended, everything went nice, but no, it actually went worse, because now there's neo-colonialism. We have never gotten freedom in Africa. I don't care where you go. You go to South Africa, come here in Kenya where I live, go to Uganda, go to Nigeria, go to Mali. I don't care where you go here in Africa, we have never gotten full independence. White people still own the important land. They still own important minerals. They have our politicians in their back pocket. In some countries, they still print their money. So we have never gotten anywhere. You see what's happening in Congo. You know, extracting coltan, left, right, and center, so that you can have your iPhones and you can have your iPads, you can have your televisions at the expense of 6-year-old children who are being forced to go mine those dangerous, who are forced to go mine in those dangerous mines. So Africa is not free. Africa is not free. And when you ask Africans, what's the biggest issue? Like right away, they'll go to bad leadership. And right away, they'll go to bad governance. Right away, they'll go to tribalism. Those are big issues. And I know those are big issues because I live here in Kenya and I know. But people don't, but I didn't ask for big issue. I asked, what is the biggest issue? People fail to realize that the biggest issue is not those three. They're big issues, but the biggest issue is those 54 borders you are seeing in Africa. Africa is the only continent whose borders were created by people who don't look like them. All those 54 countries you're seeing right now, those borders were made by Europeans. I want your viewers and I want your listeners to go and research something called the 1884 Berlin Conference. That is the source of all these African problems you're seeing right now. The 1884 Berlin Conference, where it was chaired by the then German Chancellor, Otto von Bismarck. And that's where all the European powers converged, and they were discussing how they can take over Africa. And that's where and that's where they divided Africa into small little pieces that you're seeing right now. So Italy, take yours. Spain, take yours. Britain, take yours. Portugal, take yours. That's how it happened. And people wonder, why is Africa poor? Because how do you sorry, you just let me finish this point.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you expect Africa to succeed if you have 33 different currencies in Africa? We have 3 different currencies in this continent. It is hard for me, that's number one. Number two, it's hard for me. I'm in Kenya now. It's hard for me to move to a country like Morocco, but it's easy for me to move to Saudi Arabia, which is another continent. Why do I need a visa to go visit another African country? So these borders that you're seeing in Africa, that's the biggest issue. Because once we got independence, we lived in those borders. We are competing with each other, and that's why we'll never grow. So that's on the African side. And because I'm a Pan-African, I speak for all Africans, including Africans in America and Africans all over the world. Look at, Lee, I don't even have to go into America. America, you know what's funny about America? I was thinking the other day, America has never done anything exclusive for Black people. If you think about it, there is no legislation that you can think about that has been passed in America that is for Black people and exclusively for Black people only. Think about that for a second, Lee. I mean, let's go all the way to the Emancipation Proclamation. There was there's always a but somewhere. It's always half-baked. I mean, it said you're free, but you see, there's always a but. In the Civil Rights Bill, it wasn't just race only. It was it was sexual orientation, it was women. There's nothing that is exclusively for black. There's no legislation that you can say this is exclusively for black people. The affirmative action, it was initially it was meant for black people only, but they added white women and they added other communities and other minorities. There's nothing in America that they have passed as a legislation that can, that can scream out that this is only for black people only. That's why I keep on saying, you can't be an African American. You're an African in America.
Wow. I want to, that was a lot, just so you know, that was an atomic bomb of information. So I'm going to back up and get some clarity. In Africa, you're saying that there are 33 different ownerships of countries within the borders of Africa.
54 countries in Africa, but there are 33 different currencies.
Because they're owned by different nations?
Yeah, so you see, during the Berlin conference, they split up Africa. Africa had no borders that you're seeing right now, but they split it up into 54 different countries. So England took Kenya, took Tanzania, it took Zimbabwe, and it took South Africa and others. Portugal took Mozambique, and I think Angola, if I'm not wrong. And then France is the worst of them all. France took Senegal, took Mali, took Burkina Faso. It took. So when they chopped up these countries, they didn't give a damn about how these countries are going to be if we leave them. They just said, we don't care. We are splitting this continent into 54 different countries. We are dividing it amongst ourselves, and we are going to steal, we are going to destroy, and we are going to kill to get what we want, to get all the raw materials we want. That was the plot of the 1884 Berlin Conference. And even after independence, we are still suffering from the 1884 Berlin Conference, because we have never gotten, because now you find that we are competing with ourselves. Kenya is competing with Uganda. Kenya is competing with Tanzania. South Africa is competing with Nigeria. So in that competition, we'll never grow. Africa is not meant to compete with each other. Africa is meant to unite and move in one solidarity, economically, socially, and politically.
So do you feel like that this is, okay, so I understand the African aspect. Where does the Black Africans in America come into play, right? I mean, because they're in a different continent. Are the threats the same, right? I mean, what's the point of unifying, right? Because I want the viewers to understand where you're coming from.
In this world, numbers is everything. Okay? When you add the population of Africans here in the continent, and when you add the population of all Africans in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East, in Australia, in America, in South America, if you add all the people, all the Black people in this world, we are the most populated. Black people are the most populated people in the world. So that's why I'm saying this is a numbers game. This is a numbers game. The more we are, the more power we dictate, the more power we possess. And you know what that means? Like in business, you know what that means when we're the most populated in the world? That means we are our own. Exactly, and that means we are in business. That means we are our own market. We are our own market. Listen. If we unite as Black people, we are the only people in the world who, if we unite as Black people globally, we don't need anybody for anything. We are our own.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, your stance is the separation that happens in the motherland of Africa and the way that it's separated is also the same separation that happens in America, and the objective is to keep all Black people from uniting in a core understanding?
Of course, nobody wants Black people to unite. Are you kidding me? But why do you think that CNN, CBS, all or even Al Jazeera, Sky, like, why do you think all mainstream media, whenever it's time to, like, even now in Black History Month, you know what? This is the perfect example. If you watch news right now in Black History Month, what is the mainstream agenda that they're pushing when it comes to Black history, when it comes to anything in the Black agenda? Is it Pan-Africanism or is it integration?
It's in my opinion, it's integration and entertainment.
Exactly. They will never go through the angle of Pan-Africanism, because if there's anything that white people fear, if there's anything that white supremacy fears, and if there's anything that the white power structure fears, is Pan-Africanism. Because that means if Pan-Africanism succeeds, it means that white supremacy will crumble. It means that white supremacy will fall. Pan-Africanism is the kryptonite to white supremacy. That's what I'm trying to say. And so, which is why you will never, even now during Black History Month, you know, you'll see the people who mainstream media is pushing, you know, Dr. King, you know, maybe Jesse Jackson. You'll see the faces that they're putting in front of us is friendly. And by the way, if there's anybody who I respect, is Dr. King. Even though I'm a Gavier and even though I'm a Pan-African, I really respect Dr. King. Even though, you know, he was an integrationist, I still respect him. But you see, they'll forever push those kind of people because they will never push Marcus Garvey. They'll never push Patrice Lumumba. They'll never push Assata Shakur. These are people who believed in Black power. Marcus Garvey is known as the father of Pan-Africanism. Marcus Garvey is the reason why Dr. King exists. Marcus Garvey is the reason why the civil rights movement exists, and is the reason why there was a struggle for independence in Africa. Marcus Garvey is the reason why me and you are having this interview today. But they'll never push him.
Walk me through that. Explain that just real quick. How is that? How is he responsible for you and not being here?
Well, you need to look at the history of Marcus Garvey. Garvey is the reason. Garvey inspired Dr. King. And if you look at what Dr. King said about Garvey, King idolized Garvey, and King is the father of the civil rights movement. Okay, let's look at the other side of the spectrum. All the nation builders in Africa were all students of Marcus Garvey. And by students, I mean they all learned from Marcus Garvey. Jomo Kenyatta learned from Garvey, the first president of Kenya. Kwame Nkrumah, first president of Ghana, another student of Garvey. Patrice Lumumba, Garvey. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Garvey. Even Mandela, Garvey. All these, I mean, if you look at if you look at the nation builders, they all have cited Garvey, and these are the people who were at the forefront, at least some of them, not all of them. And these are the guys who are in the forefront of struggle for independence of Africa. Garvey is the reason why we are breathing today. The red, black, and green flag. Yeah, I mean, why do you think? I mean, the red, black, and green flag is the signature color of all activism. I'm even seeing feminists putting red, black, and green. I'm seeing LGBT doing it as well. Even I mean, red, black, and green colors. I mean, that concept came from Garvey. I'm telling you, all these guys. Listen. We are all living in Garvey's legacy. So, I'd like your listeners to go and really do some research on Garvey. Garvey is the reason why we are free right now. He fostered the civil rights. I mean, even most civil. I mean, it's not only Dr. King, Stokely as well. If you, I mean, let me tell you something. Garvey is the reason why we are free right now. But the white power structure will never, ever, ever, ever depict Garvey. They will never do it because Garvey never failed. People need to understand one thing. Garvey never failed. He was sabotaged. But movement, the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, is the most powerful black movement of all time. This movement organized 6 million plus African people. Nobody has ever done those numbers. 6 million plus African people. He filled up Madison Square Garden in his convention. But you never hear that. This is a guy who is the main inspiration for the formation of the FBI. Remember, J. Edgar Hoover's first assignment was to take down Marcus Garvey because he was being too powerful. And I mean, my first episode in my channel was about Garvey. And if people want to know anything, just go and watch my first episode in my YouTube channel. Yeah.
I'll drop your YouTube channel at the bottom.
Thank you.
Okay, Sensical, that was a lot of knowledge, man. You just dropped a truckload full of hot rocks. So I'm going to unpack them from the perspective of a non-Garveyite. I have done research and I am aware of some of the things that he has done, but I'm not super familiar with who he is entirely. So I'll start with this. Hearing all of this, it sounds like you're saying that there is an agenda to destroy Black people on this planet.
Oh yeah, it's true. In fact, if you do your research, just go and research something called Global 2000. Global 2000 was a paper that was written by Henry Kissinger, and it was approved by President Carter, who was president of the United States at that time. And in that paper, it clearly states that they wanted to depopulate the Black population globally. I mean, nobody wants us to succeed. It's up to us to take matters into our own hands and unite.
And just so the listeners, what was the name of that paper again? I'll post it at the top here. Yeah,
Global 2000. Global 2000. It was written by Henry Kissinger.
Yep, I know who he is.
Yeah.
He also is the one that wrote the greatest threat to mankind. The greatest threat is depopulation, I believe, is what he wrote in a paper.
Well, yeah, and the thing about depopulation, it's so weird because people don't understand that if there's anything that the white power structure is obsessed at is depopulation. Yeah. I was listening to Bill Gates. I was listening to a Bill Gates lecture, and he was saying one of the ways of fighting climate change is through depopulation. And this is a guy who's pushing, vaccinations all over Africa. I'm not saying that it has linked to depopulation, and I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying, how can you trust a billionaire who believes in depopulation? How can you how can you trust that? This guy was all over. This guy was all over TV stations talking like a doctor during COVID. You remember that? He was all over CNN, Al Jazeera, all over talking about COVID. But people never stopped and think like, is this guy a doctor? What qualifies you to talk about health? And that's why I keep on saying when you're a billionaire, you can do anything. When you're a billionaire, and just like what Cat Williams said recently, you can fly to space, you can do anything, and nobody, not even Congress, will tell you nothing because you're a billionaire. That's why I keep on saying there's no. I don't believe in democracy because democracy doesn't exist. Even here in Africa, I can tell you for sure, these presidents are not elected by the people. They're not elected by the people. They're elected by European and by American and by Asian. It depends on which political agenda that that the country lies on. But it doesn't. I can challenge all. Listen. Elections are not being judged by the people, they're being judged by powerful people on top. Even in your country, it doesn't. I mean, do you think Biden is the most powerful man in your country?
Absolutely not. He's the face of the power.
You need to ask yourself why the Federal Reserve is not in the Constitution, why the Federal Reserve is an independent entity. You need to ask yourself why the dollar stopped being backed by minerals. You need to ask yourself why the dollar is just a piece of paper. You need to ask yourself what happened when the bankers hijacked the American government almost 100 years ago. These are the people who run your country. Well, it's not your country, but these are the people who run the country that you're staying in right now.
I have a question for you. You just dropped about 12 different conspiracy theories that Americans have been arguing about for years. And the one thing I will agree with you on is I'm very aware of the Federal Reserve's role in America. And I know it is not federal. And I do have a problem with that. But all the things that you've mentioned are so grand that how do you rise up against them if it's what you say it is? You're telling me that it is intertwined inside the system that you were wanting to take over. And I don't think it's possible to take over a system that is not yours. And so I just want to understand, not just for my own, but for I'm sure other people are wanting. So what is the answer, right? I'm all for getting together and isolating some things or some problems that we've spotted. But I need somebody today, right now in 2024, to bring me some solutions, right? Because we've got enough problem sayers. So tell me in your own words, what do you think the solution is?
I've been waiting for you to ask me this question since we began the episode. Number one, start thinking about a plan B. And the plan B is Africa. Come home. This is your home. This is your home. Come home. By coming home, I mean, even though I would be more than happy to see African Americans relocating here, by coming home, I mean come home mentally, first of all. I'm telling you, throw that crap that they tell you about Africa. Throw it away, flush it in the toilet. Just come home mentally first. Accept that you're an African, because you are. Accept that this is your home. Accept that America is not your home. It has never been, it will never be. That's number one. Number two, start investing in Africa. I cannot stress this. There's a lady, I'm forgetting her name, but I know the movement that she's leading. It's called Traverse Culture. I want everybody to go look her up, Traverse Culture. She's a black woman from Atlanta, who she now lives in Kenya. She came to Kenya, she fell in love with Kenya, and she's leading a movement where she's trying to encourage Africans in America to come back home. And she's doing something real estate. She's doing a lot of stuff. I just want you to go follow her. Yeah, she does tours and everything. I mean, this woman just came. She just came, and now she's leading people to follow her. All I'm saying is that there are so much opportunities here. Last time I checked, it was a few years ago. It was saying that African Americans' average income annually is $40,000. Average income annually, $40,000. This is a few years. I'm sure now it has risen up. I don't know, but last time I checked, it was 40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50. Yeah. Well, if you do your calculations, $50,000. If you convert it into Kenya shillings, that's more than 500. Wait. That's more than 5 million Kenya shillings. So if you bring that money here, and if you tell everybody, look, I earn it's not even 5, I think it's 6 or 7. I earn 7 million Kenya shillings a year. People will respect the hell out of you. You are living well. Do you know what 7 million Kenya shillings can do for you? Do you know how much land you can have here? How much? Do you know the businesses that you can start here in Kenya? And Kenya is even worse. There are currencies that are weaker than Kenya. If you convert them into Kenya, if you convert your USD into Ugandan shillings, you will have a lot of money. Into Tanzanian shillings, you'll have a lot of money. I'm telling you, there are so much opportunities. Start investing here. I don't know, start buying land, start investing. There are so many small, medium businesses here in Africa that have so much potential. Start investing in them. Start providing capital. Start pouring in capital into those businesses. Because I remember when I was talking to you last week, and let me tell you something, Lee, and I still believe in what I told you last week. I believe that very soon, I thought, initially I was thinking it's going to be far away from now, but now I'm starting to think it's very soon. Very soon, the white empire will crumble and it will fall down. It's falling down. One day, very soon, the white empire will crumble. You cannot oppress a people chosen by God, a people who share the same DNA with God, a people who are the first people to grace this world. You cannot oppress them for 400 years and expect no punishment. You cannot oppress sons and daughters of the soil and not expect punishment. A punishment is coming. I'm telling you, karma is you know what karma is, and it's coming. It's coming hard on them. Their numbers are dwindling, right? Their numbers are dwindling. No, it's true. Their numbers, everybody knows the white population is dwindling. The sun is way more hotter than it has ever been. Who do you think that's hurting? It's not, I mean, it's not hurting us. We have melanin, we're okay. This is nature. This is nature. Let me just finish this, Lee. This is nature. This is nature coming at them. You cannot oppress. You cannot oppress. You cannot oppress nature's child. You cannot oppress nature's children for 400 plus years and expect no punishment. It's coming. And the dollar is also crumbling. I believe that very soon the dollar will crumble. And when it crumbles, I would hate to see, and I was telling you this, I would hate to see my brothers and sisters in America crumble with white people. I don't want to see you crumble when the dollar crumbles. That's why I'm really, really advocating for you guys to start investing home, start investing in Africa. Because I don't want you to fall down with them. They've done a number on you guys. They've done a number on us. Come back home. That's my solution. Come back home. And let's unite as African people. There's no need for us to fight. There's no need for Africans in the continent to think that Africans in the diaspora are not Africans because, no, there's no need for Africans in the diaspora to think they're not Africans. No, no, no. We are one. They don't want us to unite because they know that this is the kryptonite. So let's unite. And if you think, let me just say this, if you think that this whole freedom struggle, this whole activism thing, if you think that we will succeed in it without involving each other as African people globally, we are just wasting oxygen.
So Sensical, as we get near the end of this, I want to clarify. You said that karma is coming, right? Because you can't oppress the children of the soil. I love that, by the way. I love the children of the soil. But when I hear you say that the dollar is going to crumble, and I look at the math here in America, Black families are having the roughest time. So if the dollar is crumbling, that means Black people are going to crumble first. And so I want a solution that does not involve, the masses having to find a way to Africa. Because I can be honest with you, it won't happen, right? I mean, there's most families are struggling just to pay the light bill. So to be able to get into a place to where they can relocate to Africa is impossible. So help me to meet them in the middle, right? Help me find a solution that doesn't incorporate them having to find funds that they already don't have to go to a land that's already theirs.
Okay. Well, number one, just like what Dr. Claude Addison said, a united Black economy. We cannot. Do you know that poor people spend the most money?
Yeah.
So, and especially during special occasions like Christmas and Halloween and Easter. And so let me ask you, why can't we sacrifice, and it's not even asking for much, sacrifice the Christmas money, sacrifice your, and I was listening to Killer Mike the other day. Killer Mike was saying that, what if, Black people just, like, how many are you? You're like 42 million, right?
About that.
Well, and how many adults? Is it like half of that?
I don't know the exact math. I probably should, but I don't know it actually.
Imagine if all Black people just gave up $10 a month. Just $10 a month into one pool, and we buy back the neighborhood. we start our own. We start our own mega distribution chains. We start our own logistics companies. We start our own banks. We start our own schools that teach kids that teach kids real things, not what they're teaching them in schools right now. We teach them real things that they need to know, real skills that they need to know. That's what I'm talking about. Having your own resources, having your own amenities. That's what I'm talking about. All these churches, but churches, churches is not an African American issue. This is a global African issue. I believe that if a church can raise $1 million a Sunday, they are more than capable. They are more than capable to start a bank.
Yeah.
They are more than capable to start a school. They are more than capable to buy back the neighborhoods. So if you think Africa is a stretch, which is not, but if you think it is, fine. Just let's have an infrastructure where we have a joint economy, where we are sacrificing a small chunk of our income to build the Black community in America. I'm down with that.
I like that.
I'm down with that. I totally believe that we can have a universal, a Black, sort of like a group. Like, I believe that we can start sort of like an organization whereby we can agree to, all of us, $10 each of us. $10 times, let's say, for example, there are 10 million, like 10 million, or let's say 15 million adult Africans in America who are working. 15 million times 10, that's 150 million. That's more. That's 150 million is more than enough to start a chain of schools. To start a chain of Black schools is more than enough to start a chain of distribution chains. That's more than enough to build a bank. Am I wrong, Lee?
No, you're spot on.
So that's what I'm saying. We need to sacrifice. It all starts with the money. That's what I'm saying. It all starts with us sacrificing something. And it all starts, and once we build these amenities, you have to be selfish. In the latest episode that I posted recently, I say that for you to get power, you have to be selfish. Everybody is out there for power. Jews are out there for power. Italians are out there for power. Arabs, especially Arabs, are out there for power. Asians are out there for power. We are the only people who are not out here for power. We want to be included. We want to be accepted by other people. We want to be accepted by white people. And so that's why I'm saying, once we build those institutions, we have to be selfish and say, this is for Black people and for Black people only. We are not, and that's what I'm saying. We are building our community on our own. We don't need any other people. We have to be selfish. Power only comes when you're aggressive, when you're smart, and most importantly, when you're selfish. And when you have, and when you have economic power, you can get to buy Joe Biden. You can get to buy Donald Trump. You can get to buy your mayor, your governor, your senator, your state senator. You can get to buy your politicians, because that's what other communities do. That's what Jews do. I mean, that's what everybody does. They buy politicians so that they can go and pass legislation that serves them. But now, when you look at the presidential run, Trump and Biden, all they're saying is, black people, vote for us. Just vote. In fact, Democrats are saying, hey, they're using Trump as a scare factor of you to vote for Biden so that you cannot get Trump. And Trump, on the other hand, of course, doesn't care about you. And Trump makes it clear, at least. So what I'm saying is, buy politicians, but you can't do all of those things if you don't sacrifice your money. Sacrifice your money.
I like it. Sensical, in closing, I want you to know that we didn't get to touch on any of the questions, but man, you laid some heat rocks. You were ready. You must have read the notes and was like, you know what? I'm ready. Man, I appreciate this. Once I get everything situated on, man, I'll send you everything over.